Business Association on August 28th. So glad to see those of you in the auditorium that may have braved the weather. And we also say thanks for attending to those who are looking at us on television. The first thing that we're going to do today in our meeting is invite Linda to come forward to offer us a devotion. Thanks, Linda.
Good afternoon. My name is Linda Lounsbury. I serve as the VP of HR for Landis Communities, and it is an honor to be with you this afternoon and to share devotions. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about decisions and how do we know what God wants us to do. We all have decisions to make. Sometimes they're relatively basic, like what to eat or what to wear. Perhaps a little more significant, choices to live a healthier life, who to spend time with, where to live, or whether to make a large financial commitment. Sometimes we face decisions with profound implications, life choices around marrying and raising children. Who do we vote for? How do we protect the earth? Or even, do I still believe? Am I going to quit? Will I keep complaining? Will I ask for help? What do I do with this pain? How can I serve? How do I start the hard conversation? Is it time? I'm grateful that God is faithful to help us as we face decisions, promising us wisdom if we just ask. One of my favorite verses is James 1:5. If any of you lacks wisdom, you should ask God, who gives graciously to all without finding fault, and it will be given to you. Sometimes that wisdom comes through other people of faith. And I often enjoy the devotions through Proverbs 31 Ministries. And I'd like to share a brief one with you today, written by its founder, Lisa TerKeurst, which she entitles, How Do I Know What God Wants Me to Do? In Lisa's words, when I was making decisions, I used to assume there was always one correct choice. And to stay in God's will, I must figure out that exact choice. I would ponder and pray, ask friends, Google for answers, read the Bible, look for confirmations that pointed in one direction or another. But then I wondered, is God's will really this complicated? It's great to ask friends and look for confirmation from others, but what if God is more concerned with us looking for him than looking for answers? We want big directional signs from God. God just wants us to pay attention to him and ask him, what is our best yes amid all the choices? Not long ago, and this is Lisa continuing, I heard a story that shook me to the core. It had been a busy day at a local restaurant with lots of customers coming and going. But at one point, a guy came up to the manager and handed her a card. He told her, this is for your staff. And with an emotional catch in his throat, he said, I just wanted to make sure they knew. The customer then turned and left as the manager tucked the card into her apron pocket. Later, she opened the card directed to the staff. It thanked them not for their service or the food, but for their smiles. The customer explained that he'd made plans to take his life that day. But their gift of simple conversations with simple smiles gave him the gift of hope. When I heard this story, I cried. Something stirred deep inside of me. I believe this is a beautiful picture of how God's will works for believers in Jesus. He intersects our lives with those who need his hope and whispers to us, you have the hope they need. Give it to them. Maybe we start by offering someone a little of our time, sharing our story, or simply smiling. And when we do, a shift happens. It's like the world splits open with each of our acts of obedience, and God's light breaks apart the world's darkness. Our key verses today say, you are the light of the world. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on its stand, and it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. That's Matthew 5:14-16. God wants us to let our light shine. This is his will. This is his plan. This is his instruction. The more we pay attention to these moment-by-moment instructions from God, the more our thinking starts to line up with His. Our minds get in a new rhythm of seeing what He wants us to see so we can do what He wants us to do. Would you join me in prayer? Lord, we thank you for your love, for your grace, for your guidance, for your greatness, for the plans you have for each one of us. We ask you for wisdom. Pray that you'll give us the courage to take advantage of the opportunities you put in front of us. Help us to be a light and keep our eyes on you. Pray that you'll bless us during our time today. Bless this community, and it's in your Son's name we pray. Amen.
Good afternoon. My name is Marilyn Langeman. I'm the secretary. The last Residents Association meeting was held on May 29th, 2024. The Residents Council has met twice since then. This is a summary of the July 11 and August 8 meetings. A nominating committee has been formed to identify residents to fill vacancies on the Residents' Council. Suggestions are invited for those positions and for a man to fill a member-at-large position on the Executive Committee. It was reported in July that administration has been working on a budget, a new electronic medical record system, and transition to the company Parasol for IT support, which began its service July 24th. An assessment tool is being adopted in residential living as part of the Landis Homes culture of aging in place. Some FATWA members raised concerns about the proposed location of the pickleball court. These were addressed at a meeting on July 11th and reported on at the July meeting. Heritage entrance is available for residents to use, though Dogwood remains the main entrance for personal and health care. A new Landis Homes devotional book will be launched on September the 11th. A ground blessing for East Campus expansion is planned for September the 12th. The Parker meeting, held on July the 10th, focused on artificial intelligence. Residents interested in the next Parker meeting on October 9th on frauds and scams may contact Doug Garrett or Everett Meyer. It was suggested that some concerns passed to council members can be addressed by sending a work order or calling a staff member rather than waiting to bring them to the monthly resident council meetings. The progress of work orders can be reviewed on resident apps. The number and location of resident council meeting minute books has been reduced. Minute books will remain at strategic places on campus, and minutes are posted on resident apps. A clinic will be held this fall for residents to get vaccinations recommended by the CDC.
Well, thank you to Linda for the devotion, and thank you, Marilyn, for your faithful work as secretary. We appreciate it. I'd like to welcome the new residents who have come during the last quarter. So, you're ready to go? Okay. In June of 2024, we welcomed Joe Hannigan and Dorothy Rank. Also in June, Irma and Leon Yost, and Janet and Carl Hoover. In July of 2024, Jean and Claire Hunsaker moved in, and Nelson and Patty Nafziger. Also in July, Ralph and Angela Randazzo and Ethel Stoner. In July into August of this year, Eileen Demi and Tom and Mary Keach moved in. In August of this year, Janice Coffey and Bob and Claire Russell were new residents. And finally, Melanie Bear and Doug Drescher and Jeff Zimmerman. So if you see any of these folks, please extend a warm welcome to them if you haven't done so already. Okay, the next item on our agenda is the Resident Council Minute Books, which Marilyn mentioned, and I just wanted to affirm that the number of books has been reduced, and explain briefly why we did that. We did it because we feel that we're in kind of an interim phase here between paper records and electronic records for these meetings. These meetings, the minutes are available on resident apps to anybody who has web access, and also the meetings themselves are available in video format on WLH live and recorded. Also, they're available on the resident apps as recordings, so they can be seen there. So that is one of the reasons that we reduced the number. The other reason was just to reduce the administrative cost and the complexity of distributing so many paper versions. So we tried to pick locations that would be strategically located so that they would be available to people all over campus. So if you have any questions about that, you can just direct those to myself. And we would carry that further if we need to. There's just one small item that I would like to add as a 5A before I invite Larry to come up. And that is to report that the nominating committee of the Residence Council has been busy in their work through July and August. And they just, within the past couple of days, have handed me a final report, which will go to the Resident Council meeting in September. I won't go over the details of their report, but I just want to give a special thanks to those who served on the nominating committee. So those were Martha Clark, Luke Martin, Sue Dyson, and Larry Newswanger. Again, we thank them for their good work over the summer months when the rest of us were out on the beach. They were here working. So at this time, I'd invite Larry to come up, and he will introduce his staff members.
Thank you so much, Doug. Thank you, Marilyn, and thank you, Linda. You know, we hear many times from visitors here at Landis Homes, and many times from new residents, that they are impressed with the friendliness, with the smiles, with the hey, can I help you? If, you know, I remember 30 years ago when I started, I was puzzled a little bit, and somebody was around the corner saying, can I help you? And thinking of your devotions, Linda, when you said, God wants us to let his light shine. I think that's what's happening so many, many times. God's light is shining here in the community at Landis Homes through you, through your neighbors, through the team members who are here to serve. And just so grateful for that. It is a joy to this year be celebrating a number of significant anniversaries throughout Landis communities. One of those anniversaries was at Welsh Mountain Home, 100 years. One of those anniversaries is here at Landis Homes, 60 years. And Marilyn in her notes mentioned that there will be a devotional book shared on September 11th as part of Fellowship Days at the Hymn Sing that will be part of the 60th anniversary, and I'll share a little bit more about that in a few minutes. We're also celebrating the 35th anniversary this year of adult day services, Landis Adult Day Services in Westview, and many other milestones as well. But one of the things that I'm reminded of often is that in our story, in our past experience as a community here at Landis Homes, number one, there's been strong faith. We've been a community of prayer. We've been a community of seeking to follow God's leading. Going back to our founders, our original founders, the 10 folks who came together, commissioned by Eastern Mennonite Board of Missions to create a community for retired missionaries, pastors, church workers, and others. So number one, from that perspective, and even one of those early founders said to the others, you will keep in mind our vision of creating a community rather than a traditional old people's home facility. And that sense of seeking to be a community has been just a community of Christ-like love, an important part of our journey over the years. Our stories help give insight into the future as well. Seeds that have been planted in the past may take fruit in the future as well. And just as we celebrate 60 years, just a reminder of some of the ways that those stories have been documented. One example is this book. A. Grace Wenger wrote this book in 1994. It's called The First 30 Years, Landis Homes from 1964 to 1994. And it's also available on our website, so you can pull up a copy of this whole book on the website. There's a few printed copies available as well. 10 years ago, in 2014, this book was published. This is called Growing Community, and it tells the story of the next 20 years, from 1994 to 2014. This was our 50th anniversary. So together, these two books capture our first 50 years. And then we had the question, as we celebrate our 60th anniversary, are we going to write another history book, or might we do something else that helps capture who we are as a community of Christ-like love, founded on Anabaptist, on Mennonite values, and still connected as with a number of the local congregations and conferences of LMC, formerly Lancaster Mennonite Conference, and Atlantic Coast Conference of Mennonite Church, USA. And as we thought about that, we decided, actually in conversation within leadership team, with Ann Weaver, who is Director of Pastoral Services, with Steve Ness, who is Executive Assistant in the leadership team office, and with others who've been part of this important effort, to, instead of doing a history, doing a devotional. And this is not the devotional book, but it is the cover. And it is entitled Rooted in Faith, a devotional book celebrating 60 years at Landis Homes. And it includes 60 devotionals shared by members of the community, residents here, others from outside of the community, many devotionals that were shared here in the morning during the devotional time. And it helps to pull together who we are. It gives a picture. There's a lot of diversity in This devotional book, different ages of persons, different backgrounds, different faith connections, church connections, different denominational connections. But we chose to also organize it around some of our Anabaptist rootedness. There is a author, Palmer Becker, who has done a lot of thought and writing. One of the books that he wrote was called Anabaptist Essentials. And he helped boil down 3 key elements of what Anabaptism is. And the first, I'll share these 3. The first is Jesus is the center of our faith. The second is community is the center of our life. And the third is reconciliation is the center of our work. Those 3. And this devotional book is organized around those 3. But we've just changed the order of them a little bit. We are placing Jesus not only at the center of our faith, but that part is at the center of this devotional book, and many of the devotions share different ways that persons experience Jesus as the center of their faith. So this new devotional book will be available on September 11 at the Hymn Sing under the big tent, and whether rain or sun or shine, if you were at the hymn sing one year, it was raining. We had I think the showers of blessings that were happening in the midst of that, but yet beautiful voices joined together in praising God in that hymn sing. Part of that will be able to pick up a copy of this book. We're inviting a contribution to the Caring Fund to help support those who benefit from the Caring Fund, if you would like to pick up a copy of that. I've had a sneak peek of this, and I'm so excited about it being shared with others. I'm so grateful to some of the many persons who've been involved. Steve Ness actually picked up a new title in addition to executive assistant. That was book shepherd. He helped shepherd the book, the devotional guide, and there have been many others. I mentioned Dan Weaver and many others who've been involved as well. So grateful for that. I'm not going to share more because others, as listed on the agenda, are going to be coming up and sharing, but I do want to take the opportunity to introduce, and Melinda, if you would come up, introduce Melinda Miller as Director of Compliance, Risk Management, and Quality, and give Melinda some time to share, and then Yvonne will follow.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's so nice to be here. Thank you for having me. As Larry said, my name is Melinda. I started at Landis January 2nd of 2020, so just in time for the COVID and all the fun that ensued, right? With healthcare specifically and also with personal care, and it was a joy to serve in both those areas for the past 4.5 years. And during that time, I got to spend quite a bit of time mentoring with Jenny Shekels, who was our previous Director of Risk Management and Compliance. I still get to work with her quite a bit in her new position as Vice President of PCRRG. So I really work with residents and team members and partners to look at our compliance needs, our risk management needs, look at how we can really improve life for residents and team members, work together in that collaboration. So I'm very fortunate to be here today. I'm glad to meet you all. If you see me around, stop me, introduce yourself, tell me where you live. One of the best parts about transitioning into this role is getting to know some of the residential living residents and the affiliates on a deeper level. So please feel free to stop and say hello and chat. If you ever have a question, a concern, I'm your person. Feel free to call me. When you are scheduling for COVID vaccines and all those fun things as well, usually I'm the contact and I'm happy to be. So feel free to stop and say hello. Contact me if you have any questions, concerns as well. Nice to meet you all today.
Good afternoon. I'm Yvonne Berge. It's good to be here with you today. A couple updates from operations. You will be seeing in a few weeks a new person sitting in Bonnie's desk at the residential living reception area. Bonnie is not leaving us. One of the new positions that we budgeted for this year was a new receptionist. Part of the reason for that was that our residential living numbers will be going up as we expand on East Campus. So Becca's job's going to get a little bit bigger, and Becca's team job is going to get a little bit bigger. And so when that new receptionist is trained, Bonnie, who supports Becca and the RL team, will be moving to a quieter spot so that she can provide a little bit more support for that team. Don't worry, Becca will make sure that you are well cared for, and this additional position was really in part so that we can serve you well when you come to that desk and have questions or folks call. And as we know, Bonnie has lots of hats, and so this will, I think, really help as we continue to grow and build on in East Campus. The second thing I want to update you on, you met Teffy Landman at the last Resident Association meeting. Teffy is our director, Dementia Friendly Experience. I'm happy to let you know that a kickoff with Teffy for residential living will be on August 22nd in the afternoon. I think the time is 2 to 3 with a little Q&A reception time after that. Mark your calendars for the afternoon of August 22 here in September. This year has gone so fast for me. I don't know about you all. Thank you. September, mark your calendar for September 22. So following up next, the team will be responding to questions that you submitted. We always appreciate the questions, and I know they really appreciate, and I do too, the words of affirmation. Trust me, we all read those words of appreciation. They're greatly appreciated. One question that I had that I'm going to answer here is a question of, are there still some open apartments at Landis Place on King? Yes, there are still a few. So if you know of anyone that wants a little bit of time in the city or wants to sell their house as they wait to move into Landis Homes, we still have a little bit of room there. Turning it over to you, Becca. Thanks.
Good afternoon. I am Becca, your Director of Residential Living. I think you all know me, but I keep saying that just in case, maybe I'm new to somebody. I am going to answer a few questions that I received, and I'm also going to address the second page in your agenda is the many of you have probably seen this before, but this is just talking about Landis Homes' position on the flying of the U.S., the American flag, and also where we're going to put signs and other flags here on campus, just as a review, since we're heading into an exciting election season and people may want to have some campaign signage out and about. So I'll just go over that quickly, but if you either are in the room and want to look along, I'm not going to read this thing. I'm just going to kind of give you the highlights, and then these will be available at the reception areas as well. So we do allow folks to place campaign signs, to fly flags. That's not the practice of every community like ours, but we do make an effort to create space for people to express themselves and express the things that they're passionate about. The goal we have is just to have some guidelines in place so that each person can feel respected. And so what we would ask is that flags and signs are only placed in your personal areas. So if you're in an apartment, that might be a patio or a balcony. If you're in a cottage, that might be your flower bed that's directly attached to your cottage, so not like out at the end of the road. I think the trickiest part on campus is probably for our hybrid residents. That circular flower bed that's in the front of your building is for the whole building. So we do ask that you don't place signs and flags in that area because it's sort of reflective of everyone who lives there, not just one person. So we want it to be clear that it's reflective of the person living there, not the organization, and not a whole group, if that makes sense. If you see something that you think is where it ought not be, I would ask that you just give me a call and I will either ask someone else to go look and report back. Sometimes I'll have people send me pictures if I don't have time to run out myself in the moment, or I'll go out and look at it myself. And while this one may seem obvious, it has happened, so I'm just going to take a moment to say, if you see a sign in your neighbor's flower bed and you don't like who they are going to vote for, please do not take their sign. They're allowed to have it there just as you would be allowed to do the same. So we just want to create space for each other and show some mutual respect is all we would ask. So that's that one. And again, if you have any questions, happy to discuss that with you anytime. All right, we also have had a lot of questions about distributing the resident phone directory. We've historically done that twice a year where we make a copy of that and send it out to every single household in residential living. There are a couple of reasons why we have not yet done that this summer. One, we are working on making sure that the directory is accurate. We've had some changes in our IT staffing, and we're just trying to make sure that everything in there is accurate before we would go and make copies. The other thing we're going to do differently, and you're going to kind of see a theme of this, I think, we're just trying to be a little bit more judicious about our printing, recognizing that a lot of folks are saying, hey, I'd actually rather not have a paper copy. I'm using the app, or I'm using something, different. We're trying to not just waste paper and printing and costs and be better stewards with all of that. So what we're going to do, once we're confident the directory is where we want it to be, we will make a set number of copies. We'll make them available at the reception areas and crossings and residential living. We'll let you know that they're there, and you can come and get a copy if you're a paper person and you really want to have that. But we would strongly advise for anybody who has a device or a computer and you feel okay with technology, we'd love to introduce you to the resident app. It's called Uniguest. If you don't already use it, it's a great resource. And those directories do change like almost every day. We update them like every week. So that would be one that is good to check electronically. Once I hand you that paper copy, it's probably inaccurate within a week. So just making that statement. And if at any time you want a copy of it, you can always come to a reception desk and they'll make you a copy. You just have to pay, per page. I believe it's less than $3.50. So if you want one, you can stop on by. One of the questions I got was actually about the app, the Uniguest app. And it was a question about trips not being up to date on there. So we're looking at how that's being done, how we're sharing information, which trips we're posting. We really want to be doing a good job with that, especially since we're kind of pushing you to use the app. We want to make sure that things there are accurate and useful. So thank you to the resident who made us aware of that. If you see anything when you're on the app that needs to be updated, please let us know. We'd love to keep that just as good as it can be. And we are looking to move at some point in the future to where you might be able to sign up for your trips on the app. So maybe no more walking across campus to sign up. So we're looking at that, just trying to make things easier for you. And there'll be some other good features with that. So that is the app, and we'll try to do a better job of keeping things accurate on there. And then last but not least, and I think Marilyn spoke about this in the meeting minutes from the resident council meeting, but just wanting to talk a little bit about a new tool that we're going to be using in residential living. We're calling it a level of living assessment tool. It is something that's has been used in healthcare and personal care for a long time, and we've just kind of updated it so that it's applicable to all levels of living. And the reason for this is We have a very strong aging in place philosophy, as many of you know. I know a lot of people move here because of this, and it's something that personally I'm really proud of, that we take an approach with each person to look at their individual situation and make sure that we're getting them what they need to try to stay in residential living as long as they wish and as long as is safe and possible for them. So we're going to start using this tool to just help us have an objective way to measure, what could we be doing for you that would help you, that would make you, more successful in your home. I don't feel like this is going to impact your life a whole lot, except that you might actually see it if we're talking about it with you. But it'll be a good way for us to just support you better. We keep talking about how we're growing, and we want to make sure that we're still giving everybody that individualized care and attention that we always have. So this is hopefully a way that we can be more efficient and be speaking a common language so that things just make more sense. What will never change, ever, is that we will care for each of you individually. We're not putting anybody in a box. No two people are the same. So our approach has to be customized for each and every person. So I want you to know that will never, ever change. And that's something that we love to do, myself and my teams. So I believe that is all I have. And I think Sarah is up next.
Hello, I think I know most of you out there. I'm Sarah Short, Director of Residency Planning. And I came here today to share information about our internal transfer program because recently we've had a lot of people asking about how they can get on the list in case they're interested in downsizing. The reasons we hear from people about downsizing, they say they want to be closer to dining, other amenities, the activities. Some people will come to us saying they have way more space than they need, especially if they're a single person rather than part of a couple. Also, I like to remind people that downsizing is a way to save money on their monthly fee, and some residents may even be entitled to a refund as well. I also wanted to clear up some confusion regarding the cost to transfer internally in residential living. There is no transfer fee or refurbishing fee to downsize to a studio or a one-bedroom in almost all cases. And this is actually very unusual from talking to other communities like ours. Many communities might have a flat fee of like $10,000 or even more than that just to downsize. For moves to something larger than a one-bedroom apartment, there is a $2,500 transfer fee. And the refurbishing fee is determined by length of residency, and moving to something that is larger with a higher entrance fees would mean that residents would have to pay the difference between the entrance fee for their current home and the entrance fee for the home they're moving to. Residents are responsible for arranging their move and all costs associated with the move. Graceful Transitions, which is part of Landis at Home, can manage your move, including help with downsizing, packing, unpacking, furniture placement, and coordinating details with the mover. There is a fee for the services, but it can be much less stressful than trying to do it all by yourself or relying on friends and family. Those interested in making a move in residential living will be placed on an internal transfer list. All requests are reviewed by the residential living and finance teams. The internal transfer list is for residents who are interested in moving within 3 months. Residents on this list have priority over our outside waiting list. There are only a few people on the internal transfer list because of the fact that it's only for people who are ready to move, like right now, or within 3 months. The internal transfer list is not for those people who don't know if or when they will ever want to move. Please contact, that's how it was when I started. We had like 20 people on a list for a 2-bedroom in Harvest View because people said, well, they told me when I moved in I better get on that list. But it's a lot easier for us to just focus on the people that are ready to move right away. And when I say right away, that doesn't mean the next day, because it does take a little while to repaint and put new flooring and everything to the place you're moving into. Please contact me if you're interested in learning more about what you need to do, or if you're thinking about downsizing. Everyone's situation is different depending on where you want to move and how long you have been a resident at Landis Homes. So maybe I will be talking to some of you soon. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Corey Hamilton, the CFO, and I like the chuckle you got there. I know Sarah has said in the past that they would show the units over and over to existing residents who would say no. So we made that policy to help make sure that we're using our time wisely. Couple things on the finance side. Just wanted to update everybody. So our annual audit is occurring right now. As typically we do probably around the end of October or sometime in the beginning of November, I'll have a meeting and review the finances and where we finished last fiscal year. So if you're interested in that, I haven't scheduled a date yet, but we'll schedule something and put out announcements on the TV station and then also through other means so that you are aware that that'll be coming, but that'll be in the next, probably about the next 2 months or so. We are getting ready to start the East Campus expansion. We'll be having the groundbreaking on the 12th of September. So we're actually closing, hopefully, there's always a loose end, on the financing tomorrow with Fulton Bank. So we're almost through that. We've signed the contracts with E.G. Stoltzfus to begin the construction, and I believe they're anticipating pushing dirt on September 9th. So that'll probably take 12 to 14 months, depending on which units it are. They're going to kind of phase them in. But we anticipate by this time next year, that side of campus should look fairly built up and renovated. We're also continuing to work on the barn, as many of you are aware of. We're hoping to do that in the same timeline. So the final plans we're hoping to have in the next month, 2 months at the most, and then we'll be putting that out to bid for somebody to do the barn renovation as well. So that should be coming very soon, we hope, and from a time perspective, fitting right in there. Couple things on the IT side. I know I put out several memos here recently on various phone upgrades that we're doing. Hopefully, those were completed last week, so hopefully the service will be a little bit better for most of you. If you feel like you're still not getting good service, let us know and we'll take a look at it. But this brings the software side of our phone system a little bit more up to date to correspond to the phone lines themselves, which, believe it or not, in today's world, phone lines are just electronic as well, running through a computer system. So different than the old days when there was a specific analog line. As part of that, those of you that live in the hybrids are well aware, and we are well aware of the frustration with some of the call boxes where you can call up to somebody and then unlock the door for them. That some of the hybrids, not all of them, have not worked well since we did some work on the phone system around 6 months ago. We're hoping that this will take care of some of those problems. Well, we're hoping it would take care of all of them. However, maintenance and facilities and Parasol, our IT provider, have been working on that issue as well, and they found some different settings and ways to kind of reset the system that they think will make it run better. And then campus safety team has added to their checks on a daily basis to check the call boxes to make sure they are working. So if there is a problem, hopefully we'll find it right away. Another step in that process, we've actually called in the vendor of the boxes themselves to take a look at them because we're only having trouble in certain areas. We haven't heard of issues in crossings, for example. So it could just be that those boxes need replaced. We'll see when our vendor takes a look at that in terms of whether they think that they're just old and need replaced or if there's something in the software that they can do. And last thing, just wanted to mention again that our Tech at Home program with Tyler has gotten off the ground. He's been here for, I guess, about 6 weeks now. I think all the feedback that I've received about Tyler has been really good. So if you haven't, just feel free to call Tyler and set up an appointment if you're having technology needs. And just as a reminder, he is set up, and I know I set out the days and the times already. He's been setting up here in the garden room on Thursdays, and then over in the Resident Business Center and Crossings on Mondays. If you have something that's quick and easy, or just a question he can answer as well. Certainly if it's a bigger item that needs fixed or looked at, he'll set up an appointment and come to you. But just wanted to encourage you to use that service, because that's what he is here for. With that, I will pass it on to Beth.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Beth Trout. I serve as the Vice President overseeing advancement and communications. And what will you be doing 2 weeks from today, right now? Who knows? Fellowship Days. We kick off Fellowship Days Wednesday, 2 weeks from today. Ice Cream Social starts in the afternoon at 1:30. 3:30 is the hymn sing that's been talked about with the launching of the new devotional booklet. So we're really excited about all of the things that are planned for Fellowship Days. You'll have a full schedule and map of the activities very soon. It is online, but we're working on getting copies available for all of you. But know that we're bringing back the parade. We're doing the talent show again by popular demand. Of course, we'll have Harvest Days again, the barbecue, and all of the activities on Saturday. So we really encourage everyone to be part of the Fellowship Days activities. You can already go online and look at the auction items, so we encourage you to share that information with family and friends. Anybody can bid on auction items. The auction isn't live yet. It will be the week of Fellowship Days, but many items are already online that you can take a look at. It's been mentioned, let me just say that we've had some people trying to still contribute items to be part of the auction. I just want to say that we're not accepting any more items for this year, and because of the renovations at the East Campus expansion, there will not be, we've often done like a sale. There's been a tent out there where we've had furniture and things like that. That won't be occurring this year. And in fact, with some of the changes, the furniture that maybe we have accepted in the past is not something we'll be able to do this year or moving forward. So just wanted to make sure everybody knew those things. And it's been mentioned a couple times already today that the ground blessing for the East Campus expansion, the Gardens neighborhood, is the 12th. And we've actually planned it to coincide with Fellowship Days. So it's taking place at 8:30, and we're inviting those who attend the ground blessing to come back and be part of the pancake breakfast. So you're all invited to stop over. It'll be about a half-hour program over there, and then to enjoy the pancake breakfast, which will already be in progress. And I did hear from a couple people that they were working at the pancake breakfast, so wouldn't be able to be there, but certainly understand that and appreciate everybody's volunteering. Fellowship Days does not happen without many, many people involved and without the generous support and contributions from all of you. So we're grateful. This is a major fundraiser for the Caring Fund, and really through Fill the Gap and through the auction and the barbecue, we see so many lives that are able to be blessed. So thank you for all of that, and we will report as we go through the dollars that are raised. There were a few questions on the questions that were collected that I was asked to touch on. I'm going to follow up on something Becca said regarding paper copies. In the past, we've often put copies in everyone's boxes for announcements and some things like that. We are working on a system. I just thought we might get this question. Why don't we email, or why don't we text, or why don't we call with some of those announcements? We are looking at a system. There's a team that's been evaluating potential systems that could do those things so that we have a more concise, efficient way of communicating with residents. Resident apps has also been mentioned several times, and it is the communications team that compiles all that information that then goes onto resident apps. There were some concerns raised about some of the things, as Becca said, that weren't taken down or weren't posted in a timely manner, and some things that maybe needed a little extra spell checking. On resident apps, on WLH, know that we're committed to trying to improve as much as we can, and so we will continue to do that and make sure that we take that extra care in proofreading and spell checking. There was also a question about COVID-19 updates. Those are posted as we receive them. Sometimes there are more frequent updates regarding that. Back in the day, we were doing updates pretty much every day. There aren't always updates every day anymore. Sometimes it can be a few days, sometimes it can be a few weeks till there's really something that gets posted on our website. So know that that happens, and that information is also kept up to date on the kiosks that you see. There was a question about Channel 5. I guess folks had enjoyed watching EarthCam on that in the past. I don't know if everyone does that or if you're familiar with that. There have been some changes, and that hasn't been working. Hunter, who's in the back, hi Hunter, is actually exploring how we can either reinstate that. He's also in the process of trying to figure out how we can set up for when construction begins. I know you all have enjoyed sometimes when we've done construction projects and we do kind of a live stream of the construction, and you can see in real time what's happening there. So that's on our list to try and make happen. All right, I think that's all I have for today. Thank you so much, and I will turn it over to Linda.
Hello again, I'm Linda Lounsbury, VP of HR, and I'm just going to share a brief update on some key HR initiatives. We are delighted to have welcomed a new director of HR, Kathy Royce, who started last month, and some of you have already met her. She looks forward to meeting more of you. We are also really grateful that our overall staffing for Landis Homes is stable, as we made significant progress in our dining and personal care areas, with our greatest remaining needs in healthcare, specifically around our weekend nursing, LPN and RN roles. So those are some of our top priorities right now. But please know that your referrals are always welcome. And maybe more importantly, just thank you for the ways you show appreciation and the ways you interact with our team members. The ways that you share your smiles and thanks, that really makes a difference in their experience here. And we hear comments about that often, so thank you. A couple other projects underway. We just wrapped up a revised fiscal year increase process, which allowed for some pay differentiation based on performance. And we continue to offer meaningful benefits while also looking to contain costs. We were able to roll out a floating holiday benefit to offer team members some more flexibility around the holidays. At the same time, with the significant rise to the cost of providing health insurance to our team members, we are exploring new options as we negotiate contracts for the new plan year to find the best way to steward our resources and care for team members. We are also preparing for a team member engagement and inclusion survey, which is done through Holleran. We are starting that in late September, going into October. And it's a great opportunity for us to hear feedback from team members that influences decisions we make in a number of areas. Also, as you've heard word of vaccine clinics coming up, we are working on coordinating influenza vaccine clinics for our team members coming up in the next month or two as well. Planning several appreciation efforts, engagement opportunities for our team members so that they can continue to enjoy their work, desire to work here, and continue to serve you well. So thank you. I will turn things over to Heather.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Heather Kessler, and I serve as the Vice President of Health and Campus Services. Today, I wanted to share information on the mentor program that we have been so excited to implement in healthcare and dining over the last few months. In healthcare, we implemented the mentor role for certified nursing assistants, and in dining, we implemented the mentor role for dining assistants. Being able to teach by example, having good character, and being a positive role model for the other team members were important characteristics of the mentor selection process. When we started this program, we were thrilled the applicants we received were all internal applicants, and we were able to fill these mentor roles with team members who were already serving at Landis Homes. This new mentor role has enabled us to focus on more individualized training and onboarding. Mentoring programs and the ability to help team members identify their strengths, discover opportunities, and achieve goals is a way to attract new team members to Landis Homes and also increase the sense of belonging and team member satisfaction to those who are already part of the team. The mentor program allows for career advancement opportunities, both for certified nursing assistants as well as dining assistants. The mentor positions have helped to support new orientee onboarding, training, communication, frontline team member problem solving, education, and providing the highest quality care to the residents we serve. The mentor facilitates household huddles to include meeting updates, household assignments, room rounds, electronic medical record training, and other important duties to ensure high-quality, person-centered care. Training for both the mentors and mentees has been essential to the success of the mentor program. April Myers, the nursing home administrator, and myself conduct regular check-in meetings with the mentors, which include leadership-specific training topics and discussion with the mentors. In this training, we review the guiding values of Landis Homes and the importance of including our values in the mentor training. We discuss the types of leaders they are, communication styles, and what it means to lead by example, creating a culture of teamwork and conflict management skills. The topics we review are from the mentor's suggestions on specific growth areas they wish to focus on. Since the mentor program began, we have trained 11 new team members, and the feedback from the mentees and mentors has been very positive. It's been really incredible to see the passion amongst the team members and the mentors leading this program to maintain and enhance the highest quality care, as well as team member satisfaction. Peer mentoring is just another example of how we continue to create a culture of caring among team members. When experienced team members who embody the guiding values of Landis Homes become successful peer mentors, there are clear potential organizational changes that can occur and that are occurring. Team members notice that mentors demonstrate and embody a culture of caring. As the mentors expose their team members to these traits, they also learn and emulate the Landis Homes guiding values of joy, compassion, integrity, stewardship, and community. Landis Homes culture and high-quality, 5-star outcomes are driven by amazing team members serving at Landis Homes. We look forward to continuing to develop these mentor programs as we move forward, as well as continuing to monitor the impact the mentor program has on team member engagement, satisfaction, and ultimately retention. I hope this update on the mentoring program excites you just as it excites all of us. So next, I'd like to introduce Jared Zimmerman. You met him at the last meeting, but Jared is going to join us today. He's the Director of Personal Care, and will be sharing some information about personal care with you today.
Good afternoon. As Heather said, I'm Jared Zimmerman. I'm the Director of Personal Care, so it's been 6 months since I've been here to talk to you folks. So, we figured it'd be a good chance to come back and kind of just touch base and let you know a couple things going on in personal care. couple of things happening. We're doing renovations currently in our apartments throughout all the households in Aspen, Birch, and Cedar. We're about 30% through with renovations. So as transitions happen and people change apartments, we're taking those and we're renovating them. Fresh paint, fresh carpet, new sconces. Everything looks very nice in those new apartments. So that's exciting. We're 30% there. We're on the way. The other thing we're doing is we're continuing to meet and review the plans to update our common areas in those households as well. So our plan is to hopefully in the next 12 months start to see that. You'll see that in the common areas, the hallways, the chapel, dining rooms, areas like that, which is exciting as well. We do host, I just want to let everybody know too, we do host resident council and dining council in personal care. We do those monthly, and those are great. We have just about as many folks in our councils as we do here today. A lot of folks come out, family members do at times, and we get a lot of feedback, which is exciting for us because it's something to work on. If it's compliments, we enjoy giving them back to the staff. Some of the staff even attends those at times, and it's exciting when they can hear those kudos. So that's great. The other thing that we just wrapped up was our summer picnic series. We did that a couple times this summer. Last week with the weather cooler, we were able to be outside. It was actually probably a little too chilly for most people. So there was a lot of people out there with shawls and sweaters on, which was kind of funny to see in August. But everybody that did come out had a great time. Family was there, friends were there, and everybody enjoyed that opportunity to have fellowship together. And then the last thing I kind of want to touch on is one thing we're really excited about in PC and personal care, is we're looking to have all of our team members trained in what's called PAC skills, which is positive approach to care. So Yvonne had mentioned TEFI earlier. TEFI's over the dementia-friendly areas of Landis Homes. So she will be doing an 8-hour training that each of our team members will go over the next year. So the plan is by the end of 2025 for 100% of our team members to be through the 8 hours and certified with PAC, which is a big task, but we're looking really forward to it, and we're starting that in September. I had sent out an email to the team and I said, hey, who wants to volunteer to be the guinea pigs? And I had quite a few folks, actually so many that we had to trim it down a little bit, that are very super excited to go through this training and to learn how to help with folks that are going through brain change and dementia. So those are just a couple updates that we have for personal care. I will stick around for the end of the meeting, and if anybody has any questions or would like to just talk about anything like that, would like to come over and tour, I'll be back here to have a conversation with you. So thank you.
Thank you, Jared. And as he mentioned, we'll be in the back afterwards. We do have availability in personal care, so if anybody would like to come and tour, we would love to show you the available apartments. Next, I will be providing an update for Darren Horst. He is enjoying some time off, so we're excited that he is not here today and with his family enjoying some time. So I ask that you bear with me as I read these questions and provide some answers. And Chris joined us here from facilities today, so if we have additional questions after, he'll be able to hopefully help us. And for those answers we don't have, we'll be getting those answers to you after the meeting in another forum, so thank you. So one question included regarding information that was sent out on the water quality and what was communicated in that letter from communications, and wanting to know what we're doing regarding the water quality. So the tests mentioned were regularly quarterly tests for TTHMs, which are trihalomethanes, which is an area byproduct of the chlorination process. When water is warmer, more chlorine is needed and creates more byproducts. The Lancaster City water system is a surface water source, meaning the water comes from the Susquehanna and Conestoga rivers. Both rivers are subject to changing conditions throughout the year, but especially over the summer, and thunderstorms are obviously more prevalent. The Lancaster City system typically sees higher TTHM results in this particular quarter. These were not extreme results, but do exceed the testing parameters. So what Landis Homes does is continuing to perform repetitive water flushing to keep the water fresh. Next question was regarding pickleball and the permits and so forth for that. So permitting is being submitted shortly. The process is taking longer than we initially expected, but more information will be shared as we move through that process. Question regarding the vegetable garden area and a mud hole that was formed near the toilets and the driveway around the sheds, requesting to fill that area in with topsoil. So grounds was notified and the topsoil was added there. Currently, there's cones around that area, and we will plant grass seed there once the weather permits. It is a low-lying area, so the grounds team just wanted everybody to know they will keep an eye on that area. Next question, would it be possible to keep the Oregon Dairy Trail passable by providing a temporary safety corridor between Landis Homes and the Oregon Dairy? So we are aware of the desire to keep the Oregon Dairy Trail passable and have shared this with the construction team. There will be times when the trail is closed due to safety concerns. Some of the housing is very close to the trail and heavy equipment will be close by when clearing. And so that's what we are just focusing on for now with that. Next question. What do people living in Crossings, the cottages, personal care, Grandview, Kirkview, and Homeview do in the event of a tornado? Many residents I spoke with are unclear and just go to the garages and inner bathroom. Is that correct? So the answer would be each area or building style is different. Multi-story buildings, stairwells, ground floors, and garages are the safest. For Grandview, Kirkview, Homeview, and cottages, the inner bathrooms are safest. And then for healthcare and personal care, team members are responsible for directing residents to safe areas. We conduct regular drills based on regulatory requirements as well in healthcare and personal care. And I believe those are all the group questions that we have. The individual questions that we did receive, Darren will respond to on an individual basis. Thank you.
All right. Hello, everybody. My name is Daniel McLean. I'm the Director of Dining Services. And just a few things that I wanted to review. There was only one or two comments that were submitted for dining. So, but the one was discussing about how some of the menus I think are displayed where on WLH where I think it was the evening menu in the garden room. It seemed like it was a lot of repetition every night. So we had started where a grill menu was going to be available every night. So it's burgers and those types of things available every night there. But we still have a nightly special that changes every day, something different every day. So the communications team will be changing that so that special nightly something different will be at the top, so it won't look like we're serving burgers every single night and that's all we're serving. So although there are people that come almost every night and get a burger, so they like it, so there you go. We'll keep doing that for a while, but there is always something different that the chefs have created, something special for each night. So remember that menus are available on the app, on the screens, on WLH. We have our dining newsletter that comes out, so we try to get out as much information and menus as we can for different areas. The menus are posted in the different areas. We have them on bulletin boards. So as Becca had kind of said it at the beginning, we are looking at trying to reduce some of the paper printing. So some of the individual printing that we do for individual residents of menus that might be, we might be talking about how we can reduce that in the future. So, but Heather Zeckman, who's our assistant manager, she's happy to email menus to folks because emailing is very green and takes just a click of the enter button for her to send you menus or information. So you can talk to her or me if you'd like to be on that with getting information emailed. We have some special events coming up, and those folks that come to our special events tend to really enjoy them. So I do encourage you to come to them. We're going to be, right after Fellowship Week, we'll be planning a Costa Rican dinner. One of our chefs, Jairo, he is from Costa Rica, so we'll be celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month with a Costa Rican dinner. So hopefully you come and try that out. It's exciting. Right after that, we're having Oktoberfest. So if Costa Rican is not your thing, well, maybe German is your thing. And so we will have a German lunch over in the garden room. So it'll be served Oktoberfest Landis home style, so there'll be at least great food. Also then in October, it's Italian American Heritage Month, and we'll be doing an Italian dinner where our own chef from the East, John Marconi, he's going to be planning a really great Italian dinner for us. We do request, the chefs especially really request as much advanced reservations as you can do for these events. So the last one that we had, I think we had about 30 more people who reserved in the last 2 or 3 days before the event. So it's really kind of a challenge for them to order and plan when folks are doing those last-minute reservations. We will certainly welcome you. We want every person that wants to come to be there. However, we really would appreciate some little bit more advanced planning. So if you can, give us a call, 5 days or earlier before an event to make those reservations, we'd really appreciate it. Finally, just want to remind everyone, we have a monthly dining committee meeting. So there are folks that are on the dining committee, and we meet with them monthly. If you'd like to be a part of that, just let me know, and we can talk over what's involved with that. The commitment is very low, only that you are an advocate for your neighbors to bring concerns or compliments or whatever about the dining program, so we can look at that. If you're interested, the committee minutes are posted on the resident app, so if you want to see what was said and who's on it or whatever, they're there for you to review. All right, thank you, everybody.
Okay, this is the time that's reserved for your questions or comments. So we will open it up to what you have to say. And if you could please state your name when Steve brings the mic to you. Steve, somebody up front here.
Suzanne Schautel, I live in South Campus. I wonder if anybody knows when or if the kiosk around the mailboxes on the South Campus is ever going to be repaired, since the, I guess it was the snow plow that, banged into it last winter, and it's still being held together with some cables.
Apologize for that. First time at one of these, don't know how we're supposed to answer. The mail kiosk in South Campus, that is on schedule to be repaired in September. It has been a long time, honestly kind of fell through the cracks with our contractor, but it is going to be done in September.
Thank you. Any other questions?
I'm Millie Schellenberger. I do not have a question, but I want to give a compliment that I heard last evening. One of the ladies on my hallway had friends come and eat lunch here, and they said the food was so good, it's much better than even Willow Valley.
Thank you, Millie. No free meal, though, for that. Yes.
Hi, Mary Bucher. I wanted to ask Daniel what the menu is planned for Monday in the garden room for Labor Day.
Okay, Monday's menu. You want to come on up? Okay, while you look it up.
I'll get you that information personally, or you can check the resident apps, and the menu is right on there. Oh, okay. Well, if there's other questions, I'll use my trusty phone. I can find it for you, so.
Okay, any other questions or comments? Suzanne has another.
It's just a comment. I came to one of the, not too long ago, special meals and noticed in the information, reservations at such and such. I did not realize that you had to make reservations. I mean, I showed up and I did get fed, but I think it should be stated more clearly when it is a special event that reservations are required or something like that, so people know that that's expected.
Yeah, it might be a good idea to put a reservation deadline too. Thank you. Anything else for this afternoon? Well, seeing none, I would ask you just to join me in a brief closing prayer. God, we give you thanks for this wonderful community that we live in. Thank you for the great people that live here. And God, we ask you that you inform us about what we can do for our neighbors. And that when we see a neighbor doing something for another neighbor, that we give you thanks for having your light shine through that person. Finally, God, we ask that you accept the thanks of us, and in the words of the psalmist, let everything that has breath praise the Lord. Amen. You're dismissed.